Hey, welcome everybody. So as I could see, there's still a slight delay, but welcome at 16:16 at Montreal time. Amazing. It's been arriving me for so many moments lately. All right, so I'm here this Sunday, May 10, with you, with nice music and so on. Of course, you don't see my background, but if you'll be able to see my background, it will be funny because this is the Fredo Lounge background, not the Fredo Pro Agile Lounge actually setting background. But it won't matter that much because I would like to offer you in the next 10 to 15 minutes a speed up process towards our online Agile Forum of this Wednesday, May 13 at 5 p.m. So this video is mostly made for the 8 panelists that will participate live with us on Zoom and broadcasts on Facebook and YouTube this Wednesday. Because we had one in French on April the 15th. So I would like to present to you an holistic, objective overview of the lessons learned or the subject that was touched into the 3 dimension. So I remind you the 3 dimension is human, autonomy, and of course the digital world. And I want not to put too much detail into it. So let me share my screen as I will do as any training. So I'd like to do, I should say desktop probably. Hold on a minute. Da, 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 da. Let me just, it won't be long, guys. Just want to make sure. Okay, here we go. Here we go again. So by sharing the desktop, we could have access to everything. Here we are. So of course you see the title in French because that was the French one that we used to give you the lessons learned. So in this video, as I said, I will present to you the raw drawing with my commentary about what was said. So we do it visually, yes, because Agile, it's make everything visual. And you have a glimpse as well as what to expect from the people out there discussing with us. So on the first question on how agility would or should or could help us achieve better help and assistance towards transformation post-lockdown with that kind of new world that some people call a kind of a soft revolution, a soft coup of enforcing us to think faster. And actually, this is very good for our agility community at some point because right now what I'm seeing in the last 2 months is people a lot more receptive to embrace not change but transformation. Yes, I insist. The word are very important. So the first dimension to answer that question was about the human and the human interaction and the world of remote work. And as you could see, and when we asked the open-ended question, it will be similar of what we should have or could have this Wednesday, upcoming Wednesday. Comment aider les gens à vivre la meilleure expérience? So how could we help people to have the best experiences? And so people draw like previously, it was more like the VUCA. That could be actually interpreted as the VUCA, which is volatility, uncertainty, complexity, and ambiguity. And now we are a lot more straightforward. We are towards solution. We are towards resolution. We are towards like deliver faster and more efficiently. We don't have time to lose because I've got my kids at home, so on. So people were discussing about that factor of work-life balance, work-family balance, having to work remotely. So we have to be a lot more straightforward for our professional duty to live the best experience. Because again, the document we'll see later for subjections, there's more outcome to it. But that was a bit on the human interaction, even making a link towards the autonomy and trust of the next table, as well as the digital infrastructure needed to do this. But a lot of people said like the best experience like now and moving onward after past lockdown, we should have a really more clear focus. One of the 5 value of Scrum, the focus. And of course, Agile should actually help us balance and balancing what actually Is it the work-life balance or life-work balance? Because we should put life before work. That was part of the mingling discussion actually we had on April 15 on the French forum. And so, yes. So when I put the lessons learned here, it's not to prevent you guys to discuss it again and in the tongue of Shakespeare, but it's just to let you know that if we'd like to be innovative and the theme of history, so maybe we won't spend that much time on this. And the balancing here was interpreted as well on the fact that as an experience, as a person experiencing now life between work and my family or between work and leisure, having an agile mindset, meaning that embracing the 4 values and the 12 principles and use them as a tool and as a help to make decision with my coworker, with my family, to us, right? So that will help us bring equilibrium to have a better experience in the entire life. This is a here. So are we listening each other? Are we, so the best to help, how to help people having a best experience? Someone express that one of the very first thing is to observe and to listen to each other in matter to make sure that we could at some point have an agreement. And this gentleman now is not yelling necessarily because we thought so. Are you yelling? Is it like a yelling to have a best experience to yelling? No, exactly. It was a drawing to that. Now, of course, we listen. Now, could we express? Because it's a tango that dance together. So if you just have listener or follower, it's not much. So you need people innovative, people who speak out to live the best experience in their life. And this, I don't remember. Maybe it was observation again, because I know in that topic of human interaction, there were a lot about like, could we listen, could we speak, and could we also make sure that we make the proper observation without judgment. And of course, here it's people again interacting between each other. So really the mindset of the H2H from Brian Kramer, that I salute, by the way. H2H stands for human to human interaction. Is no more B2B, B, business to business. It's no more like B2C, business to consumer. Right now, it's human interaction as a whole. And actually, in one of my pillars at the Agile Lounge, we coach and teach entrepreneur and people about this concept that beyond agility, actually beyond business agility, it's part of the freedom lifestyle superpower. And that's the work-life balance or life-work balance. With that kind of expression and the better experience, you have to stop it right now, especially if nowadays after the post-lockdown, we as coach, agile coach and transformation coach will be able to guide people into having the best experience. And work and life should not be balanced, actually. It's more like your energy you put towards achieving a goal, and the goal, it's your experience in life and having interaction with people, which is business, loved ones, family, everything put in the same place with a great listening skills. And of course, people tend to be happy and happier. And for that, you need fulfillment. So in the human dimension, this was the topic mostly discussed. Precisely from a VUCA perspective to a more straightforward and a better understanding without ambiguity, better balancing everything, our skills with the team and everything, listening, expressing ourselves, having a safe space to do so, observation, interaction between people, and of course, happiness through fulfillment, through achievement, because we had to talk also on the indicator or KPIs, what will be the performance of a worker into his human experience from now on. So that was also discussed into this one. All right, so now if I go to the second table, so the second hour was about autonomy. And autonomy here, again, it's a sub-question from the grand question. How could we help the creation of autonomous team? So of course, this one was a lot Scrum lean oriented with the value of Scrum and with all the process of building team, creating team. And discussion about this one was also in the more holistic context beyond business, actually. That was like Yeah, I should have done that before. Sorry. So there was a lot more also about discussing the organization itself by empowering people, uh, let them self-organize, again in the lean principle, and have them coming up with a learning experience. So um, responsibility and trust, that was one of the first drawing we had. So how do we trust an individual, part of our team, part of our organization, part of our town, part of our countries, the trust and the responsibilities, because a lot of people will say, oh, I have rights, I have this and that. Of course, yes, we have the Charter of Rights here in Canada. And of course, for my US panel, you have even better, I think, in your constitution. But the thing is as a team and as a self-managed team, trust is the first factor. And with what we've seen also on the first dimension, on the human interaction, that will be the key. So how do you trust someone? Is trust is something we build. So the discussion was like mostly about this. So how, as coach, could we help actually the creation of autonomous team? That was one of the proposed answer. Make sure that everyone is accountable, engaged, and we trust each other. Now this bonne journée kind of Franglish things. There was a journey, so to work together and togetherness, we need a journey apparently. So I'm not sure about this one particularly because I remember we talked a lot about responsibility and trust people, respecting also their skills and why we hire them to be part of the team and so on. And but about the bonne journey or the journey factor of a transformation, maybe that was not clear in the topic. And I know the third drawing about our hierarchy, that was a lot discussed. So I don't mind to do it again in English, but just to make sure that we don't have the same perspective, to evolve a little bit and move onward. We asked kind of the question in the panel on the, of course, now you see it's a reverse pyramid, where if we talked about autonomous, self-managed, or even local government having more say into the federation, for example, things like this, that was the discussion we had actually between that. So what is need to have self-organized, self-managed team, people, and people being autonomous, being sovereign of themselves. So we need less hierarchy, or we need actually to reverse the hierarchy, meaning like all the those who do and we hire them for some reason because of their skills, no matter the context of business or technology or what have you. So we should listen to them. And if we go back to the human interaction and the listening part, that was also part of it. So if you want to trust someone, let him go or let her go to, she'll be able to show us the thing. Okay. So you see, this is very important that I do this now, because on Wednesday, and now this message is for the panel. I hope you're going to listen to this 25 minutes because it's going to be important. Because it will speed up the process of our introduction to the panel to go right on the subject. Here, the third dimension table was about the digital transformation, or it's more than that, it's the digital itself. But of course, we had a joke, like, because that day on April 15, Apple in the US was launching his new iPhone SE for $399, and I made the joke, which is 550 Canadian. And on that topic, what I remember, we had Will Salmon, who is a creative coach, on one of his product solution is design me a city of the future, design me the future, and draw me the future. So it was all about equal chance, like this equal in the purple square was meant to the discussion we had first on the infrastructure. So it's one thing to say, okay, let's encourage remote work to reduce the carbon effect or the commute, and to have people more productive, apparently, according to some early study, but we'll see. But do everyone have equal chance of having the proper internet, Wi-Fi infrastructure, VPN security, what have you? So that was one of the topics discussed a lot on the digital table in last one. And then before going to the matrix guy, kind of plugged into the system, we had a very nice discussion on SSID and also the autonomous security, individual blockchain type of security on exchanging data. Because we often think that digital, it's only about, when we talk about digital, we will assume right away, especially with Agile, that this is a digital transformation that need a lot of innovation. That is, the goal is mostly improving the transactional website with a better e-commerce, a mobile type of thing. It's all about the experience, using digital tools, preventing a lot of paperwork, having everything on the net. But behind that, more than the infrastructure to be able to remote work, for example, we also need the infrastructure to protect all those data. And I don't want to go into any example that we lived through 2019, but we saw that the cloud thing, the cloud identification thing, the privacy factor. So all of this was debated in this great table. So the digital sphere is identity digital. Is it secure? And if any big body, corporation or government would like to survey or to identify a trend, for example, of course, and nowadays with the coronavirus or any type of virus, yeah, but how could we protect the fact that me as an individual, I don't mind to they retrieve my data on my health, for example, okay, or my social status or my economic growth, but I don't want, I want this anonymous. So from autonomous to anonymous, that was a kind of a trend. That was a lot discussed about this. So blockchain to help data in the cloud being preserved, and how do we actually develop not just digital currency, that was also discussed. So digital in that sense, I think we have a lot to talk, but be aware that those subjects were already debated in the French one. And I think the last one was to close the thing where we went in a little bit more esoteric or futurologist, maybe influenced by a Kraftwerk's mind, something like this. So this is like, because the discussion was so kind of heated between privacy and the type of thing, how we gather, how we keep our data, that at some point, like instead of a chip, they literally propose to be plugged into an AR, artificial reality or something like this. But anyway, so that was the three topics. And how long? It's been like 22 minutes, so I might cut the beginning. So let me give you also two things that I will probably come back to it while introducing the thing. So this is the human needs. Of course, you could identify the Maslow pyramid, but we have the conscious leadership kind of pyramid. Like this is from Richard Barrett of Conscious Capitalists, and also one of the leader proposing to the world a new way of coaching leader and executive. So just like a quick thing, like, and the Conscious Agility Consortium that I'm building right now, and I hope you'll join me to enhance our discussion about this, because we think it's the time is now. The time is now for the digital transformation. Yes, we will need business agility for this, but we'll need also conscious leadership and conscious agility in terms of identifying, like, to have the best experience and to be autonomous and to be in collaboration and togetherness into a digital world. I think we'll need to also go more than the physical, emotional, and mental. We have to go into a bit like the spirit business of internal cohesion with ourselves and our teams, making a difference in the world as a unicorn company that make billions after its first years of creation, being at the service of the community, but beyond the world. So these are some kind of aspect that I would like to bring you to think about when we think on the post-lockdown. What is the Kickstarter, the accelerator that we should take advantage from this crisis of the pandemic? And this was from my great friend, Senator Tony Leforado in Canada. They have it from Decode. Let me again, sorry about this. No, here it is. Yeah, so the potential winners and loser in the short term from the crisis. So of course, we saw all the industry. So at some point, I will invite you to look at it. And wherever you're from, especially for those on the panel, you might want to share some stories about the challenge you add into the 3 dimension and how you could actually use it as an opportunity to either transform your business, let's say from automotive to more ICT or personal health care. So is it right? Is it not right? So I know this is from really early in the crisis. They draw it together at the decode. That was March something. So maybe things are evolving right now because these green might, like agriculture is more green in the Canadian and US context and so on. So, but anyway, so just like to see if these could help us answering the question and wherever you work actually and which field of business you work, that will be something that to help us answering the question. So that sums up for the lessons learned. And for the preps, again, I'm inviting you to read that document for the panel who received it, because there's a great, nice outcome. As we said, because I participate in a lot of French, English, and Spanish forum lately, actually since the beginning of the crisis and even before, because the crisis is just for us, the real business agilist. This is an accelerator, okay? It's not a slowdown. Of course, with the confinement, that's another question. We may have talked about it in the forum, but the forum is more like for the carpe diem, the present, the here and now, and moving onward. What should we do together to help people making better decisions, to work smarter, and to actually take that push of acceleration? The brick and mortar retail economy, of course, to the benefit of the e-commerce. So it's really in line with this as well. So I will invite you for sure to have this in mind as you prepare yourself towards our discussion on Wednesday. Well, I won't go through this. I think you'll be able to read it by yourself and come up with your question or your proposal about this. So basically, the Zoom room will open around 4:30, 4:45 with some music and background and seat chips. So I will include you slowly but surely. You will have to confirm your agreement that your face name will be shown on Facebook, YouTube, Instagram, and Steemit. You have to be aware of this and that it's going to be recorded. And you have to remember that there is no copyright of any kind. It's open source for all and for everyone. Anything from it after that into your own firm, into your own way of building training or what have you, it has to have your touch, and it have to be and at some point, let's say it's inspired by the Conscious Agility Consortium that was organizing the forum at least. And so far so good. That's the thing. And again, you could see an example of subtopic for each of the board proposed. Again, this is proposed because maybe when we'll do our creation and acceptance agreement, workshop agreement, because this is agility, lean, and scrum in action that I propose you. And as a facilitator, I will take that time at 5:15 to ask you if these topics are okay, or you'd like to change autonomy for something else, or human interaction for something else, or digital for something else. But again, this is on a voluntary base. Nobody is paid for that. Even if you see right now here that we'll ask for tips, and tips will decide together what we do with this. I usually try to pay my 5 contractor coach that's not working right now with a lot of little money we do here and there on YouTube, Instagram, and so on. But we could also decide to give it to charity, or to split it, what have you. So that's will be pretty much open. I don't making a lot of that kind of residual money nowadays, but it's just there if people would like to share the appreciation. Could be better than exposure and something. So I think I made a table. So of course, we'll be time boxed at a certain point. We'll see how it's go around. Expect to have a screen like this, by the way, of us being into the square, because we're gonna put Pickle's application up front most of the time. So we'll be able to see the drawing and intervene among our discussions. So again, we'll keep it very simple, very lean, because I have in mind this idea of an Agile online forum through the Consortium of Conscious Agility was actually an extension of the Scrum Beer that we do here in Montreal for a year right now, that have been, of course, canceled because the brewery are closed or in lockdown. Having it on Zoom digitally make it a little bit more structured. But again, I would like to inviting us to be authentic, and I will be there to make sure that everybody has a voice on the panel, and that everybody could go through and draw also the beautiful thing on pickles. So thank you very much for listening. I know it was a bit long, but we're going to save a lot of time on Wednesday. So be free, be autonomous, be well, and see you Wednesday, 5 p.m. Eastern Time sharp. Ciao, guys. Happy Sunday. Happy Mother's Day.